Right, let's have a look at setting up a meeting as based on a template. Because we are getting fairly short of time, I'm going to do this with an existing club, and I think I'm going to do this with a club that I know I can do it with. Right, so I'm now logging in as a member, and I can go into meeting agendas. No. Right. This is the current agenda for the for our next meeting, December the 21st. If I wanted to view another agenda, I can go back to those we have stored, back to October or forward to the 11th. But what I'm going to do is set up one for the 18th, our first meeting back. You'll see a button bar along here, and if you want to list all the agendas, yes, you can. Yes, you can do that. And you see we go back to 2012. So if there's a particularly good one from 2014, you can do that. I've never had to do that. The button bar has got little tooltips on it. So email, print it, report from the meeting, something else, delete it, edit it, or create a new one. So we'll just create a new one. And we've got our agenda set up. It's all on, Free Toast Host is all on date pickers. I don't want January 2022, I want January 2023. And actually it's February the 1st, isn't it? So I want February 1st. And the meeting start time. Now, notice 12 a.m. That's the default. However, if I set it up to go with a standard meeting template, which we've baked before, you'll see, do I want to update the time from the default to the actual start time? Do I want to, I can say something like first meeting, and that will appear on the calendar. Venue, it's going to be at Sturgis West Community House, which is our permanent venue. And I can add additional venues, so I can also say it's going to be online as well. And no, I'm not worried about locking the agenda. Right, now when I save that, I've created an outline agenda for this meeting. Now I can modify the agenda items, and yes, you can modify that's what appears at the top of your agenda. The agenda items. This is what's been set up in the template. Notice something that's rather clever. If your Sergeant at Arms has left the club, it will show deleted member or former member. We don't actually want that. As a president, and all you do is you just go through. Toastmaster introduces the roles. Well, we'll put me in that one. Guest welcome, we'll do that guy. Now here, notice you've got the president up here, and it's got asterisks either side of it. This means that that person is going to appear in more than one role. And you'll see here, president, you don't have to assign the person again. Free Toast Host already knows who it is. This is useful for things like the grammarian. All right, chuck Barry in there. And the grammarian's report, which appears at the end of the meeting, I don't have to assign him again. I don't have to remember that. So I've gone through and I've assigned all these people. All right, we'll have a new member. Will that work? No, we'll have that one. Now, what that person will see when they sign on is that they'll see they're in that role. They can then choose which project they're doing, put an introduction into FreeToast Host, and also download a guaranteed fillable evaluation resource to pass on to their evaluator. And that is useful. You can't even do that, guarantee doing that from Basecamp. Table topics evaluator. You don't have to do all of these at one hit. There's our grammarian. Has already been on, or she has already been on, and that's the report that they give. That will appear with the name substituted in the printed agenda. So just go into there and all the other stuff. And you can add new agenda items if you wish, in addition to the what's in the template. So, for example, if it was an area director's visit, you might add there a speaking slot for them. They're not there every fortnight, but when they are there, you can add the speaking slot, and then with a bit of luck, you would have to put them in as some sort of membership thing, but potentially you could do that. Have a member who's also area director, for example. Jane.
What some clubs do is set up a dummy member called guest.
Yeah.
And then in the description line, in the lighter type, you can put the person's name, who they are, and if it's relevant, what they're going to be speaking about. And then that's valid just for that agenda.
Yeah. And you notice that although that there's FreeToast Host doesn't include a roster as such, you can see that, for instance, once it's taken a few seconds to go, right, I last did this role as I tell you what, we'll go back into general evaluator and do it there, do it on a real role. Just hover out, grayed out members are not attending this meeting. No. But you will be able to see when I last did the role, and that will give you a pretty good idea for a roster. Okay, so that's the basics. Again, it's a bit of glossing over, but this is a good place to be exploring, because you just set up a template, set up an agenda, and save it. You can always delete it. So we'll save
one
that.
little suggestion.
Yep.
If you're playing with agendas, make it something like a year in advance, and then it's less likely to confuse the other members. And you can always delete it later.
Yeah, because it won't appear on the calendar. It won't appear on the calendar if it's a year in advance, Barry.